You thought you knew the Silva twins. You thought you knew where the money came from. But what if I told you the House of 11 isn't funded by fashion sales or their father, but by a ghost from their past that they have been trying to scrub from the internet for a decade? We have uncovered a screenshot from the Wayback Machine, a digital archive that never forgets, dating back to 2012. It is a profile from a notorious high-end mutually beneficial dating website. The photos are blurred to bypass reverse image searches, but look closely at the left wrist. That specific faded script tattoo matches Darcey's perfectly. And the bio, it doesn't say looking for love. It reads twin seeking mentorship and investment for fashion empire. Travel required. You've been sold a story of self-made success. But the timeline suggests something much darker. You thought they were hustling for the American dream. We found the man who actually paid for it, and now he wants his money back. Before we open the files that could destroy the House of 11 forever, you need to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications for the tell-all tapes. We are the only channel brave enough to follow the money trail that TLC refuses to show you. If you want the truth about the 90-day world, smash that like button right now. Let's be honest with each other for a second. We have all sat there watching Darcey and Stacey looking at the massive house in Connecticut, the endless designer bags, the Range Rovers, and the constant relentless trips to Miami. And we have asked the same question. How? The math has never added up. The show wants you to believe that House of 11 is this booming fashion juggernaut. They want you to believe that selling joggers and oversized sunglasses is funding a multi-million-dollar lifestyle. But have you ever actually seen anyone wearing House of 11 in the wild? Have you ever seen their clothes in a major department store? We looked into the financials and the numbers are terrifying. Industry insiders speculate that the brand runs at a massive loss almost every single year. The overhead for their manufacturing, the shipping, the website maintenance, it costs more than they bring in. So the narrative shifts to Mike Silva, their father, the devoted dad who funds his daughter's dreams. Yes, Mike does well. He has worked in China. He has had a successful career. But does he fund two middle-aged daughters, their husbands, their children, and their botched surgeries while maintaining mansions in 2 states? Rich? The answer is likely no. Mike Silva is comfortable, but he is not an endless fountain of liquid cash. That is where the seeking files come in. This theory changes everything we know about the last 10 years of their lives. We have received insider reports suggesting that in the early 2010s, right before they filmed the pilot for The Twin Life, the sisters were allegedly active on exclusive invitation-only platforms designed to connect wealthy investors with aspiring beauty queens. This wasn't about dating. This was business. And according to the digital footprint left behind, they found exactly who they were looking for. We call him the mystery investor. He isn't a boyfriend. He isn't a husband. He is a silent partner who has allegedly been pumping cash into the Silva ecosystem for over a decade. But why? Why would a wealthy businessman funnel millions into a failing fashion brand? The answer lies in the murky waters of offshore banking and what financial experts call lifestyle laundering. Here's how the theory works. The investor needs to move money. He needs a legitimate business to explain where his cash is going and coming from. A fashion brand is the perfect cover. You can claim you sold 5,000 units of a tracksuit when you really only sold 5. The money flows in from the sales, turning dirty cash into clean business revenue. The twins get the lifestyle, the fame, and the clothes. The investor gets a washing machine for his money. It seemed like the perfect arrangement. They get to play celebrity and he gets his finances handled. That is why they never seem stressed about the low sales volume on their website. The sales don't matter. The volume doesn't matter. The business isn't there to make a profit. It is there to exist as a front. This explains the recurring wire transfers that sources claim hit their accounts quarterly. These aren't dividends from clothing sales. These are rumored to be transfers from a shell company registered in the Cayman Islands, a location known for financial secrecy. The wires are categorized as consulting fees or brand ambassadorship, keeping the IRS off their backs and the cash flowing into their pockets. But if you look back at the early seasons of 90 Day Fiancé, you can see the cracks starting to form. We always assumed Darcey's emotional instability was about men. We thought she was crying because Jesse was mean or because Tom was arrogant. But rewatch those scenes with this new information. Look at the panic in her eyes when she checks her phone. Look at how desperate she is to project an image of wealth and success. Is that the face of a woman looking for love? Or is that the face of a woman who is terrified of defaulting on a deal with a dangerous man? The narrative we are uncovering suggests that around 2018, the investor started to change the terms of the agreement. The money wasn't free anymore. The mentorship mentioned in that 2012 profile came with strings that are now tightening into a noose. The stress we see on the show, the constant need for validation, the frantic surgeries to stay young and marketable. It all stems from the pressure to satisfy this silent backer. If they stop looking at the part, the money stops. If the House of 11 stops looking like a viable business, the laundering scheme falls apart and the investor pulls the plug. This is why they are trapped in a cycle of eternal youth. Chasing. They aren't doing it for themselves. They are doing it to keep their job. They are employees in their own lives hired to play the role of rich reality stars. And the boss is getting impatient. We need to talk about the Miami connection. Why are they always in Miami? They live in Connecticut. Their kids are in Connecticut. Yet every few weeks they are on a plane to South Florida. The show tells us it's for Miami Swim Week or to expand the brand, but insiders claim the real reason is much more sinister. The investor is based in Miami. He is a known figure in the luxury real estate market down there, a man who throws lavish parties on yachts and in penthouses. The terms of their investment allegedly require the twins to attend these functions. They are entertainment. They are arm candy. They are proof that the investor is a man of influence who hangs out with reality TV stars. When you see them posting those filtered photos on a yacht holding champagne glasses, look at the background. Look at the reflection in their sunglasses. You never see the other people on the boat. You never see the host. That is by design. They are there to work, not to party. This brings us to the most chilling part of the investigation, the ghost funding breakdown. We analyzed the estimated cost of their surgeries alone. Between the veneers, the lifts, the liposuction, and the fillers, they have spent upwards of $500,000. House of 11, based on website traffic analysis, generates maybe a fraction of that in profit. Mike Silva is generous, but he is also a pragmatic businessman. He wouldn't throw $500,000 into elective surgery unless there was a return on investment. The only explanation is that the surgery money comes from the Cayman wires. The investor pays for the upgrades because he needs his assets to look pristine. It is a horrifying thought that their bodies are being modified not because they want to, but because the business plan demands it. There was a moment in the spin-off show Darcey and Stacey that everyone missed. It was a scene where they were discussing the future of the company and Darcey receives a text message. The color drains from her face. She puts the phone down face up, then quickly flips it over. She stammers, changes the subject, and starts crying about Georgi. But the timing was off. Georgi hadn't done anything in that scene. The text wasn't from Georgi. Our theory is that the text was a collection notice from the investor, a reminder that a payment was due or a wire was delayed or that their presence was required in Miami immediately. The crying wasn't heartbreak. It was pure unadulterated fear. They are living in a gilded cage. They have the mansion, the cars, the fame, but they don't own any of it. It all belongs to the entity that created them. And this is where the blackmail comes into play. You don't just walk away from an arrangement like this. You don't just decide you're done being a sugar baby when you have built your entire life on the sugar. The seeking profile from 2012 was a contract. Travel required, it said. And now 10 years later, they are still traveling. They are still paying the debt. The investor allegedly holds collateral, emails, photos, financial records that could send them to prison for fraud if they ever leaked. This is the leverage that keeps them dancing on the string. They can't quit the show because they need the platform to keep the House of 11 front legitimate. They can't quit the surgeries because they need to please the investor. They can't settle down with a normal man because a normal man would ask questions about where the money comes from. Think about their relationships. Jesse, Tom, Georgi, Florian. What do they all have in common? They are all essentially jobless men who can be controlled. They are accessories. But more importantly, they are men who don't have the financial literacy to uncover the scheme, or they are complicit in it. But Georgi was different, and that is why he became such a problem. We will get to Georgi's role in uncovering this conspiracy in a moment. But first, we have to understand the depth of the deception. The House of 11 was never meant to be a fashion brand. It is a tribute to their late brother. Yes. And that emotional hook is what makes it the perfect shield. Who would question a business dedicated to a deceased sibling? It is untouchable. It deflects criticism. If you ask about the finances, you are attacking their brother's memory. It is a masterclass in manipulation, likely orchestrated not by the twins, who frankly don't seem organized enough to pull this off, but by the investor himself. He built the structure. He wrote the script. They are just reading the lines. When we dig deeper into the Wayback Machine archives, we found more than just the profile. We found old blog posts from 2013, deleted tweets, and tagged photos from parties in Miami that have since been scrubbed from their main feeds. In these old photos, there is a recurring figure, a man often seen in the background or with his back to the camera. He is always well-dressed, always near the twins, but never tagged, never acknowledged. In one photo, Darcey is looking at him with an expression that isn't friendship. It's deference. It's the look of an employee looking at a boss. We ran facial recognition on the partial glimpses of this man. And while we cannot legally say his name yet, the results point to a figure heavily involved in international import, export, and Miami real estate development. A man with the liquidity to float a fake fashion empire for a decade without blinking. This recontextualizes everything. The desperation to get married isn't just about finding love. It's about finding an escape route. If Darcey can find a man rich enough to pay off her debt to the investor, she is free. That is why she targets these luxury men like Tom, who she thought was a British aristocrat. She wasn't just looking for a husband, she was looking for a buyout. She needs a new investor to buy out the old one, but every time she picks the wrong guy. Tom was a fraud with empty shopping bags. Jesse was a narcissist building his own brand. Neither of them had the millions required to sever the tie with the Miami investor. So, she ends up back at square one, crying in a hotel room, waiting for the next wire transfer and booking the next flight to Florida. The twin life pilot they filmed years ago, the one that never got picked up, was the audition tape. Not for a network, but for the investor. It proved they were camera ready. It proved they were willing to do whatever it took to be famous. And he bought it. He bought them. The tragedy of the Silva twins is not that they are deluded women chasing youth. It is that they are intelligent women who made a deal with the devil to bypass the struggle. And now they are realizing the interest rates on that deal are impossible to pay off. The recurring theme of eyes on the prize takes on a new meaning. The prize isn't love. The prize is freedom. Financial independence from ghost funding. But the ghost is tightening his grip. Reports from 2023 indicate that the House of 11 website traffic has plummeted. The show's ratings are fluctuating. The laundering machine is slowing down. And when the machine slows down, the investor gets angry. This explains the erratic behavior we have seen recently on social media. The bizarre cameos, the filtered rants. They are scrambling. They are trying to generate revenue by any means necessary to make up for the shortfall in the business. They are panicked because the Cayman wires have started to arrive late. We are watching a slow-motion car crash, but not the one you think. It's not a crash of their love lives. It is a crash of their financial house of cards. And the one person who figured it out, The one person who actually tried to stop it was the person everyone loved to hate. Georgi Rusev. You thought he was the villain. You thought he was using Darcey for money. But what if Georgi was actually the hero trying to save her from the investor? What if the reason they fought wasn't because he didn't love her, but because he refused to let her go to those business dinners in Miami? Let's re-examine Georgi Rusev through the lens of the Seeking files. The show painted him as a sullen, unemployed moocher who was hiding money in his socks. But if you apply the investor theory, Georgi's actions suddenly make perfect heroic sense. Remember the sock money incident? Darcey found a stash of cash Georgi had hidden and acted betrayed. But ask yourself, why would a man living in a mansion with a wealthy fiancé need to hide cash in a sock? He wasn't hiding it from Darcey. He was hiding it for Darcey. Georgi realized early on that Darcey doesn't actually control her own finances. He realized that if the investor in Miami decides to freeze the accounts, they would be left with nothing. The sock money was a go bag. It was an emergency fund. Georgi was trying to build a safety net that the investor couldn't touch. He wasn't being shady. He was preparing for the inevitable day the wire transfer stopped. And why couldn't Georgi work? He is a licensed massage therapist. That is a high-demand job. He could have easily found work in Connecticut or New York. The narrative that he refused to work is a lie. Our sources suggest that Georgi was effectively blacklisted. The investor has reached. A few phone calls to high-end spas in the area, ensuring Georgi wouldn't get hired would keep Georgi dependent and weak. The investor didn't want Darcey to have a partner who could financially support her. He needed her partner to be a burden so she would remain dependent on the Miami money. But Georgi fought back in the only way he knew how. He tried to stop her from traveling. The fights we saw on TV, the explosions over trust and other women were edited to look like jealousy. But look at the context. These fights almost always happened right before a business trip or a major event. Georgi wasn't jealous of other women. He was furious about the other men, specifically the men at the investors' dinner parties. The yacht ultimatum is the turning point of this entire saga. According to leaked schedules we cross-referenced with flight logs, there was a specific weekend in Miami where the twins were expected to attend a gala hosted by the investors' real estate holding company. This wasn't a House of 11 pop-up. This was a model and bottle event where they were expected to mingle with potential clients. Georgi put his foot down. He allegedly told Darcey, "You are not going to be a show pony anymore." This is why Darcey looked so torn. She loves Georgi, but she fears the investor. When Georgi refused to back down, the investor made a call. The ultimatum was delivered. Dump the Bulgarian or the House of 11 goes bankrupt tomorrow. That painful, drawn-out breakup wasn't a relationship failing naturally. It was a contract termination. Watch the scene where Darcey ends it with Georgi on the beach. She is reciting lines. She isn't speaking from the heart. She is speaking from fear. She is crying because she is being forced to fire the only man who actually tried to protect her from the wolf in Miami. Even Stacey plays a darker role in this theory. Have you noticed that Stacey is always the one pushing Darcey to move on and focus on the business? Stacey is the enforcer. Stacey is more compliant with the investor. She enjoys the lifestyle too much to rock the boat. Whenever Darcey starts to rebel, whenever Darcey starts to prioritize love over the arrangement, Stacey steps in to sabotage it. She whispers in Darcey's ear, makes her doubt her partner, and steers her back toward the twin life brand. Stacey isn't just a sister. She is the middle manager keeping the talent in line. The tension between the twins isn't sibling rivalry. It's the friction between a prisoner who wants to escape and a prisoner who has learned to love the cage. Now, let's talk about the mystery investor himself. Who has the power to pull these strings? We have been digging through Florida business registries looking for the link. We found a recurring name attached to several shell companies that have operated out of the same address listed on early House of 11 shipping manifests. This individual is a heavyweight in the Miami nightlife and condo development scene. He is a man who thrives on proximity to fame, but stays in the shadows. He has funded other influencers before, but the Silva twins are his longest-running project. Why? Because they are the perfect canvas. They are willing to alter their faces and bodies to fit the changing trends of what he finds attractive. This brings us to the most disturbing realization: the filters. We all laugh at the heavy filters Darcey and Stacey use on Instagram. We call it delusion. But look at the face and the filters. Look at the specific eye shape, the specific jawline they edit onto themselves. It doesn't look like them, but do you know who it looks like? It looks exactly like the woman in the investor's current wife's photos. They are digitally altering themselves to mimic the investor's type. It's a subconscious or perhaps explicit attempt to stay on his payroll. They are terrified that if they look their age, the mentorship ends. The filters aren't for the fans. The filters are for an audience of one. The Seeking Files narrative explains every plot hole in the Darcey and Stacey universe. It explains the phantom wealth. It explains the constant frantic travel. It explains the weird men. It explains why they can never truly be happy. They are actors in a reality show that extends far beyond the TLC cameras. They are living a double life. On TV, they are boss babes looking for love. In reality, they are indebted servants to a master who views them as depreciating assets. The tragedy is that they have built a prison out of Gucci belts and Louis Vuitton bags. Every time they flash a red-bottom shoe, they are showing you the shackles. And the saddest part, they are getting too old for the game. The investor is known for trading in for newer models. We are seeing the beginning of the end. The desperation in Darcey's recent posts. The erratic cameos where she seems intoxicated or out of it. This is the behavior of someone who knows the end is near. The Cayman wires are drying up. The yacht invites are stopping. And soon the House of 11 will collapse, revealing the empty shell it always was. We have the name. We have the documents connecting the LLCs. We are currently verifying one final piece of evidence, a direct email chain between the investor's assistant and the House of 11 production team dictating the plot of the next season. If this email is authenticated, it proves that the entire show is a scripted infomercial for a money-laundering operation. We are sitting on a powder keg that could blow the lid off the entire 90-day franchise. You need to look at the screen right now. I am not going to say his name in this video because I don't want to get sued before I release the evidence. But I will tell you this: his first name starts with the letter M and he owns 3 of the most exclusive clubs in South Beach. If you live in Miami, you know exactly who I am talking about. Do the research. Google the address of the first House of 11 warehouse and see who owns the building. The truth is hiding in plain sight. This investigation is ongoing. We are currently trying to reach out to Georgi for an exclusive comment. We want to give him the chance to tell his side of the story to confirm that he was the only one trying to save Darcey from the seeking trap. If you want to see that interview, if you want us to drop the full name of the investor, and expose the financial records, you need to make this video go viral. The algorithm tries to suppress this kind of truth. They want you to watch the show, buy the merchandise, and not ask questions. But we are the tell-all tapes, and we don't play by their rules. Hit that like button until it breaks. Share this video with every 90-day fiancé group you're in. Leave a comment below with your theory. Do you think Darcey is a victim or is she a willing participant in the con? And most importantly, subscribe and turn on the bell because when part 3 drops and we reveal the face of the man who owns the Silva twins, you do not want to miss it. The truth is stranger than reality TV. Stay tuned. One last thing before you go, and this is crucial. Since we started researching this story, since we started digging into the Cayman connections and the Miami flight logs, something strange has happened. Official accounts associated with the Silva brand have started blocking us. Comments asking about the investor on their social media pages are being deleted within seconds. They are watching. They know that we know. The silence from the House of 11 camp is deafening and it tells us everything we need to know. We are over the target. This isn't just a story about two reality stars chasing fame. It is a warning about the dark underbelly of the influencer economy. It is a story about how deep the debt really goes and the terrifying price of living a lie. The next time you see Darcey crying on your screen, asking why she can't find love, remember this video. She isn't crying because she's single. She is crying because she is possessed. She is crying because the bill is due and she is running out of ways to pay it. We are preparing the final dossier. We have the flight paths. We have the LLC registration documents. We have the timeline that shatters their entire backstory. But we need to know that you are ready for the fallout. This investigation puts our channel at risk, but we are willing to take that risk for the truth. So, here's the deal. If this video hits 15,000 likes, I will pin the first letter of the investor's last name in the comments section. If we hit 20,000 likes, I will release the unredacted screenshot of the 2012 profile in our community tab. The ball is in your court. Do you want the sanitized TLC version or do you want the tell-all tapes reality? Scroll down right now and comment on the word freedom if you think Georgi was innocent. Comment investor if you think the theory is real. Let's blow up the algorithm and force the truth into the light. Don't forget to subscribe because the next update will change everything you thought you knew about 90 Day Fiancé. I'm watching the files and now so are you. See you in the next one.